Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, family, friends, and fellow nomies, welcome to Banished. I have been trying to run this game for over a year, and the laptop that I had would not support it. I am now sporting a new platform. It is an MSI GE76 Raider. I have the NVIDIA 3070 graphic card, which is an 8 gig graphic card, 32 gig of RAM, a 17.3 inch monitor, and 1 terabyte of SSD. So needless to say, I am running a beast of a machine right now. And this should be able to support all the games that I currently have in my library. I'm calling this a longline weekend because, like longline fishermen, I am going to be baiting a bunch of videos this weekend. It's President's Day weekend 2022. And with a little bit of luck, I will get 10 to 12 videos uploaded this weekend. What I want to do now is find out which videos are popular with the viewers and which ones are not so popular, so that I can focus my attention on the ones that you guys really want to see the most. So, excuse me. So without further ado, let's jump into this. I have over 5,000 hours invested into Banished. I have a 100% completion rate of all the achievements. And I would like to say that my play style is going to be a little different than anything that you may have seen. And of course, if you're new to this game, hopefully I can turn you on to a game that you normally would not have ventured into. Banished is a city building game, a resource management. It was developed by one person back in 2015. And because of the fan support for this game, there are a number of mods out in which all of my videos will be mod based. Because this is my very first video at Banished, that's going to appropriately be named Pangaea. For my map seed, I'm going to play one that I am familiar with. It is 161, 147, 151, and if you actually spell out Pangaea alphanumerically, this is what it will look like. Verdant Plains, I like this because it gives us the real estate to build on. This is approximately going to be a 10,000 acre build lot. And the way I'm going to be selling this game is that a nomadic couple purchases 10,000 acres to build a homestead and winds up founding their own town. So, because we will grow this thing. The map is going to be very large because now we can actually support something of that size. I love the marine climate. It's not too harsh. It's not too mild. And it gives us a lot of crops that we can grow later on. More on that later. Disaster's on. What fun would it be to turn it off? And of course, my starting conditions are going to be Adam and Eve, which is where we will be starting with only 2 what they call bannies, peeps. And these 2, the nomadic couple, is going to be growing basically this entire town. And I'll just say use your imagination on how the town grows. Anyway, I am running Megamod 0.06, and that is the only mod that I am running. There are newer ones out there. For instance, they came out with a Megamod 8.0. There's also a 9.0 out there. However, I have found that this Megamod 0.06 is giving me all the build options that I enjoy in a game. And so this is the one that I will most focus on. Okay, so we have our initial starting position. And the first thing that most everybody likes to do is, what did we just purchase? So this is a map of roughly our 10,000 acres of land. Our starting point is going to be right here in the center. Oh, you know what I didn't do is set the timer. Set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Counting down.
All right. This is our starting position right here in the center. And in the previous playthroughs on this game, which never got recorded, my strategy was always to build north and then start this off as an agriculture area with crops and ranches, livestock, and also to go south and do the same thing with the crops and the livestock. In the center here, we are going to get our first hub set up, and basically everything that we need to sustain ourselves is going to be done in this first video. So without further ado, let's get right into it. As you can see, I also have 4 lakes here. We will be building out onto these lakes, and I guess by now I can tell you my 2 favorite build styles are utilizing the tiny and small buildings and the dock builds. So, okay, standard AI, there is our status board, there is our event log, which is also known as our newspaper, and we're going to go ahead and put up professions. I prefer this one on the side. If you are familiar with the vanilla version of this game, you'll notice that this is about all of the professions that the vanilla includes. The Mega Mod actually blows it up into a crap ton of professions. So, here we go. Let's get started. The first thing I do for my starting base here is I develop a crossroads for where I'm going to put my first hub. To develop those crossroads, I'm going to come down the side of this mountain for my vertical access, and I am going to place a mine. I know you guys are freaking out right now. Why is he placing a mine already? But we're going to put the mine right here. Did that it? Yeah, right there. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to butt this road up to the mine, and this is going to give us our horizontal access. So now I've got the horizontal, I've got the vertical, and now I'm going to place my first hub along this road right here. So the first thing I'm going to drop down is a forester, and I just love these green icon buildings, or basically the whole mod of this green icon. Just out of curiosity, let's see if we can. Whoops, hello. I thought this would tell us. This does. Okay, who's green? Green is Kid. Kid 1293. Kid, kudos to you, buddy. You built an awesome mod set here with these green ones. So let's get into it. We're going to drop a forester first along here, and there we're on the road. I'm going to click it over one more because for some reason the yellow ring that is on the far right hand side is going to jump, and it's going to jump right next to the road after I place this. So we're going to place it and then check it out. Boom, it magically appears right next to the road. Okay, first building placed. On either side of that, I am going to drop a gatherer, which is going to be right here. And then I'm going to drop in a hunter. Now, those of you familiar with Banished know that this is your standard forest hub. The reason I'm dropping these next to each other is to keep my ring of influence, or the ring of productivity, as small as possible so that I can build around it. One more thing that I'm going to drop into this area is going to be a woodcutter. And although there is a small tiny chopper here, I'm actually going to go for the firewood yard because I think this thing produces a little bit quicker than the standard woodcutter. And one thing that you're going to discover in my gaming is I do not like to sell raw materials at my trading posts. So I would much rather manufacture logs into firewood and then sell that, even though I am not one of those that relies on firewood. Okay, across from the production hub here, we're going to drop a storage barn. And once again, I'm going with the green because these little forest ones are just adorable. They come in 3 different colors. You're going to get a gray, a light brown, and a dark brown, and you can toggle between those. There's the gray, light brown, dark brown. I am going to theme everything around the gray color. And we are going to place it right there, and that is directly across the street. We're going to put a pause on that. And then I am going to drop in a stockpile. And what I'm going to do for my stockpile is I'm actually going to skip 1 space and then come out 5. And the reason I do 5 is because that lines up with the end of my firewood yard. And there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the 2 little steps right here. So, firewood yard, hunter, forester, gatherer. We have our barn, we have our stockpile, and the last thing we need to do is drop a couple houses in for our peeps. And once again, I'm going with the kids' forest home. And to show you what these guys look like, let's zoom in on them. I'm going to rotate this around. So there's the front of it. This is dark brown with light trim. And this is light brown with a dark trim. And you can see this is square. This is a left corner. This is a right corner. So they all have 3 layouts and there's 3 color patterns. Finally, we have the grays, gray with a brown trim. And there is our left corner. My next click is going to be right corner, but I'm going to go ahead and use these. I'm going to come up to the road. I'm actually going to go 1 over from the storage barn. Place that. It automatically shifted to the next corner build. I'm going to rotate it around and place another one right across the street. Put these on pause. And actually the bottom one I'm going to take up because this is my first build. The reason this is going to be my first build is because when you only start with a population of 2, population growth is going to be the biggest priority, and I want to get them indoors so they can start eating chocolate as soon as possible. And for some reason, eating chocolate produces babies, and it works for them. After that, we're going to go with the food, which is the next necessity, in which case I'm going to open up the gatherer. And finally, we're going to go ahead and focus on our warmth, which is where they are going to clear that mine, which I don't want. And then, you know, another thing, as long as we're at it, we're going to kill the roads, because I don't want them to waste their time and effort building roads at this moment. So let's go here. That's good. Boom. I can deal with this road, but we don't need it all the way out there. We can simply butt it up to our hunter, and then that's happy. So they're going to start building here, and then they're going to come out this way. Here we go. No harm, no foul here. All they did was fell a tree. Now they're going to clear our stockpile. And you can see that that gives us 12 logs and 2 stone when we need 20 log and 8 stone. Now the house itself has 3 resources that it's sitting on. But I'm going to go ahead and clear out. Let's do the wood first. And a lot of people are going to scream at me for doing this, because the rule of thumb is you don't pull trees out of your production zone. And then I'm going to grab a couple more stone, which we do pull out of the production zone, because the more stone and iron you clear from the inside, the cleaner the ground is when the forester goes to plant trees. So we got enough logs. I'm just waiting for my stone to kick in. I got my stone. I'm going to open up that. They're going to jump on this house after they grab lunch. And they have already cleared. They're bringing resources over. And boom, I'm going to turn them both into builders. They are going to erect this house, and then we're going to meet our first couple. And there it is, Lutherford and Yarity. Lutherford is a 13-year-old boy. Yarity is a 12-year-old girl. And that is all I'm going to say about that, because you guys are going to watch how this plays out. Okay, take them off of builder mode, otherwise they're both going to build the roads. I now also have enough to get my gather going. So we're going to go ahead and get this gatherer up and running. Okay, drop 12. Boom, boom. There we go. I'm going to put 2 builders on this. They're going to knock this out in no time. Boom, 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 boom. And done. Stop it again. Take them off of builder mode. I'm going to go ahead and immediately drop 1 gatherer in. And then I'm going to take this 5,000 limit and put it all the way up to 1,000,000. Because you can never have enough food in this game. So, there's that. My next focus is to get the barn up. And the reason I want to get my barn up is because I do not want them running back and forth to this cart every time they collect something. So I have my stone. I still need some logs. So I'm going to clear a few more trees in this area. And then I'm going to go ahead and erect the barn, then the hunter. And the reason I do it in that order is because as soon as my first snow hits the ground, I relieve the gatherer and turn him or her into the hunter. So I am gathering from spring until first snowfall. And once first snowfall hits, I hunt until the following spring. And that cycle repeats itself. 28 here. I've got 2 to remove, and those 2 are actually going to equal about 8 in logs. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up now. Of course, unless that's rock in there, then that's not going to give me anything. There's a tree. Okay, now I've got enough to build the barn. And this little build right here is going to be our first. I just want to keep an eye on this over here. This is actually going to be our first development. And, or I should say priority. The next priority after this is going to be to focus on an herbalist, a blacksmith, and a tailor. And cha-ching, there we go. Take him off of builder. There's our barn. Now the gatherer is going to start putting food into the barn rather than running it down to the cart. And the more I can keep them into this area, the more they basically focus on growing in this area. We've already got our first child. So you saw that our couple was 13 and 14 years of age, and from spring to summer they have already produced their first child. So way to go. They're both 14. Anyway, this is probably going way off course, but that's what eating chocolate will do to you. Okay, now these two don't need to be... Oh, the hunter. That was the next thing we were going to focus on. We have 8. We need a couple more logs. So once again, let's continue our log collection from this area. And that should do it. We're going to go ahead, we're going to get the hunter up so that by the time winter comes around, the gatherer will be able to take over that position. And then the next thing that we're going to focus on, as I said, were the first manufacturing areas of the tailor, blacksmith, and herbalist. Okay, do we have it? We do have it. Let's go ahead and prioritize, because I don't know if... oh, I didn't unpause it. There we go. And there he's clearing it out. Okay. Why do I like these small houses so much? Well, I like the forest build only because I think the aesthetics of these houses are awesome. I like the color patterns. I like the thatch roofs, the different kind of log cabin-y build. It looks like a better quality house than your tiny shack, or even the standard wood house. The standard wood house has a footprint of 4x4 for 16 squares, where these only have a footprint of 3x3. So your carbon footprint on the ground is only 9 squares. Now 9 squares is also the footprint of your barn. So everything is kind of 3x3x3. And then when we get to down here where our manufacturing area is, it looks like the 4 highs are going to be just a long string of those. Okay, we got our hunter up. We can make that go away. And the next 2 builds that we're going to get as soon as we get the wood is to put both of these together. I'm not going to start building until all of the resources are on hand, and then that way I only need to do the building, assign the builder once to do both of them. Oh, that's going to be more than enough logs there, but let's run with it. And you can see them running around. We can kind of zoom in to see what these guys are doing. So yeah, these small hunter, gatherer, and foresters, out of everything available, this is the scale that I have grown to like. Whoops, and we're at 28, and 5 and 8, we're good to go. Let's unlock both of these. And now our builder is going to go ahead, or our laborer is going to clear the area, bring the material. There's our first snowfall. And as I said, we're going to relieve our our gatherer, assign the hunter, and now, in addition to all of this produce that was collected, now you're going to start seeing some protein going into the storage barn. Most commonly with this climate, you're going to see venison go in, and that is also going to prompt me to build the deer butcher. But as you can see in the requirements for resources, this one actually needs lumber. And keeping to the pattern of small builds, my preferred lumber producer is going to be the saw pit. Once again, it's a little 3x3 footprint. It's not the quickest method, but like a Ronco rotisserie, you set it and you forget it, and it just pumps out a little bit of lumber anytime you need it. So, with that said, let's get rid of him. Let's go ahead and finish our builds here. Okay. And then, of course, after they finish these builds, I don't know how much time is going to be left, but we're going to then focus on the next area. A little bit of thought to this mine right here. Let's talk about my industry. The industry that I like to focus on in this game is wool. And with that said, the stables is one of my primary buildings that I place. After I build my herbalist, my blacksmith, and my tailor, a tavern, and I like the Pilgrims something one. I like that one because I get to use my blueberries. And blueberries in this climate grow like crazy. So the blueberries are going to be converted into cider, and then that's going to create a happiness. My flax here is going to go into something called a linen weaver, which is this yellow one right here. And you're going to notice the build requirement for this is 20 log and 4 iron. Now, to get iron in this game, we could collect iron ore. We can smelt it down, but before we can smelt it down, we have to build a smelter. Before we can even fire up a smelter, we have to refine fuels, which is another building, and then we finally get iron. This, on the other hand, is a real simple 24 log, 12 stone build, and this tiny mine produces straight iron without going through all of that refinings. It also will produce coal. On this little hill right here, I can get 10 mines. And my common playthrough on these is to have one producing iron, one producing coal, and then in my blacksmith, I can go ahead and the blacksmith can go ahead and focus straight into steel tools rather than the iron ones. Anyway, we'll see how that plays out. Where I was going with my wool, the stables produces domestic animals. And you know what? We're all done here. It is late winter, so I got my laborer back. Everything here is built. This is going to be self-sustaining right now. And the next thing that we're going to do is come down here, and we are going to focus on the, the next industry, which is going to be iron. I'm sorry, not iron, but the blacksmith and herbalist. Okay, this is a corner right here. You see how it's red, green, and then there's red, and then I'm back in the green. So this is the farthest point that I can get to the water. So what I commonly like to do is to run out my road, but I think I'm going to build off of this. If I can go across here, I'm going to go ahead and take this to right about there, and then I might do a little bit of flattening. So anyway, what I want to do is build this out this direction, and that's going to put me right under my storage cart there. I'm going to continue my road here all the way down to here, and then I wonder, or if I should have, yeah, that's not gonna be a big deal, because I'm thinking about another hub out over here. So anyway, I've got a corner built up right here, and what I normally like to do in a corner is drop a market. A market actually works just like a storage barn, where people will bring stuff to it, and it will store items like a barn. And with that said, we're going to build up our production community right next to that. So next to the barn, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a blacksmith. And as you can see, there's our little green again, and that's going to give us the small town one. This has a wood shingle roof. I'm going to flip it once to go with our thatch roofing. I'm going to take it to the market, and then I'm going to leave one gap in between. Boom, there's our blacksmith. Next to the blacksmith, I like to drop a tailor. And once again, there's our green small town tailor. There's our thatch roof. There's our shingle roof. We're playing with thatch. Skip one, because we got so much real estate to play with. And my herbalist is going to be the same. We're going to go to health, and right here is our small town herbalist. There's our shingle roof. There's our thatch roof to match the pattern. And actually, I am going to place him or her on the other side of the road, because I want this circle of influence to collect the herbs from the from this area up here. So now we've got an herbalist, which we're going to go ahead and pause. We've got a market that's going to act as our storage facility for that area. We have a small town blacksmith, which is going to be our next priority. And we have our first tailor. And the reason I say first tailor is because the wool is going to be my industry. I can see that I am out of firewood here. I've got 31 logs. What I'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and chop up a little bit of wood just to get the house restocked. So he's going to come over here to the wood cutting area, and he's going to chop some wood. And there he goes. There's our little kid running around, the rugrat. Okay, now that this initial area is built, we can actually start drawing some resources from outside of this area. 72, that's enough. We can take them off. And now my next goal is to get the blacksmith up, because these 3 tools are not going to last long. And once the workers are without tools, the production takes a major hit. and we don't want that to happen. So we're gonna make sure that our tools are always up to par. And what I might do is actually put a stockpile right down here into this area. Oops, we want this one, we want this one, and I just want to see where I can go there. Leave a gap. Whoops. There's our timer. So that's going to conclude the first episode. 1, 2. We can go 2 wide. And I think I'm going to take it 2 wide, go up 4, and we're going to leave a stockpile right there. All right, guys. If you are still with me, thank you very much for coming on this journey. I hope you have learned something that the other YouTube players may not have shown you. Please leave me a comment on what you think about my build so far. I promise you it is going to grow quickly, this development, and we will see you in the next episode to see how this little town of Pangaea comes along. With that said, once again, thank you very much. Please support me by subscribing to the channel. Hit notifications, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next episode of Banished. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.